They told us nuts are nature's perfect snack. Small, crunchy, packed with protein, and good for the heart. For years we were told to grab a handful every day if we wanted to live longer. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Once you cross 60, the story changes. That innocent jar of mixed nuts sitting on your kitchen counter might not be as harmless as you think. In fact, depending on your health, your medications, and even how your body processes minerals, some nuts could be quietly fueling inflammation, raising your blood pressure, or increasing your kidney stone risk. Now let me ask you something important before we dive in. Which nuts do you eat most often? And have you ever noticed joint pain, digestive issues, or brain fog after snacking on them? Drop your answers in the comments. I read every single one. Your feedback makes these videos better and could help someone else avoid a painful mistake. Today we're revealing the 4 nuts you should handle with caution after 60 and the 4 nuts you should eat daily for stronger brains, healthier hearts, and sharper vision. Each one is backed by real science, not marketing hype, and I'll give you exact serving sizes, smart swaps, and the red flags to watch for. And I promise, there's at least one nut on today's list you'll never look at the same way again. How your body changes after 60, and why nuts hit different. Here's something most doctors never explain. Your body at 60 doesn't handle food the same way it did at 30 or 40. Every decade, small shifts add up, and when it comes to nuts, those shifts matter. Your liver, the powerhouse that filters toxins and processes fats, naturally loses efficiency with age. That means contaminants like molds or pesticides, and even healthy fats, can linger longer in your system. Your kidneys, which flush out minerals, also slow down. Suddenly, nutrients like phosphorus or oxalates, which you never worried about before, can start building up and causing real problems. And let's not forget blood sugar and blood pressure. After 60, they tend to rise faster, which makes high-carb or high-sodium nut mixes riskier than you'd expect. None of this means you should fear nuts. It simply means you need to be more selective, choosing the ones that work with your body, not against it. And that's exactly what we're about to uncover. But first, let's start with the nut that looks harmless, tastes amazing, and yet has a hidden connection to kidney stones and blood sugar spikes. Number 4. Cashews, creamy but risky. Cashews are one of the most popular snack nuts in the world. They're creamy, versatile, and show up in everything from trail mix to stir-fry sauces. But here's the hidden truth. For people over 60, cashews can quietly turn into troublemakers. The first red flag is their oxalate content. Oxalates are compounds that bind with calcium and can form kidney stones. If you've ever experienced that sharp, unbearable pain from stones, you know it's something you never want to repeat. After 60, kidney efficiency naturally declines, which means oxalates are more likely to accumulate instead of being flushed out. A few handfuls of cashews here and there may not seem like much, but for stone-prone seniors, they can tip the balance. Cashews also carry more carbs than most other nuts. 1 ounce has about 9 grams of carbs, enough to spike blood sugar, especially if you're among the half of adults over 65 living with prediabetes or diabetes. Add salted or flavored coatings, and those blood sugar swings get even sharper. And here's a myth worth clearing up. You might have heard that cashews contain the same chemical as poison ivy. That's technically true, but only in the shell oil. The cashews we buy are processed to remove it. So while you won't break out in a rash from eating them, sensitive immune systems can still overreact, sometimes showing up as inflammation, joint stiffness, or skin flare-ups. The smart move? If you love cashews, don't panic. Just treat them as an occasional garnish, not a daily staple. Try mixing them 50-50 with almonds or pecans, and then slowly phasing down the cashews. That way you keep the creamy bite without overloading on oxalates or sugar. And speaking of overload, our next nut is infamous for giving you way more of one nutrient than your body can handle. Eat too many, and the side effects can mimic serious disease. Number 3. Brazil nuts, selenium overload. At first glance, Brazil nuts seem like a dream food. Just 1 or 2 kernels can give you more than your entire day's worth of selenium, a powerful mineral that protects your thyroid, boosts your antioxidant defenses, and even supports immune health. Sounds perfect, right? Here's the catch. Too much selenium flips from helpful to harmful very quickly. After 60, your kidneys filter less efficiently, which means selenium can build up instead of being excreted. Eat a handful of Brazil nuts every day, and you could be taking in 10 times the recommended daily amount. That kind of overload can trigger a condition called selenosis, which often masquerades as normal aging. The symptoms? Brittle hair, splitting nails, strange metallic tastes in your mouth, persistent fatigue, even hand tremors or mood changes. Some people have gone through months of medical tests for neurological decline, only to discover the real culprit was simply too many Brazil nuts. And here's another hidden issue. Brazil nuts naturally absorb barium from the soil, a mineral that in large amounts can interfere with heart rhythm. For younger adults, it's usually no big deal. But in seniors, especially those already taking heart medications, it's one more stress your body doesn't need. So what's the solution? Simple. 1 to 2 Brazil nuts a day is plenty. Think of them more like a supplement than a snack. If you're already taking a multivitamin or thyroid medication, you might even want to skip them entirely and get your selenium from safer, more consistent foods like eggs, chicken, or sunflower seeds. Remember, in nutrition, more is not always better. And with Brazil nuts, more can quickly become dangerous. Up next is a nut that isn't technically a nut at all. It's cheap, it's everywhere, and it hides one of the most dangerous natural toxins known to science. Number 2. Peanuts. The mold problem. Peanuts are everywhere. Peanut butter sandwiches, roasted peanut snacks, candy bars, you name it. They're cheap, filling, and often marketed as heart-healthy. But here's what most people don't realize. Peanuts aren't actually nuts. They're legumes, and they come with a unique danger that becomes especially serious after 60. That danger is called aflatoxin, a toxin produced by molds that love to grow on peanuts during storage. Global health agencies classify aflatoxin as a Group 1 carcinogen, which puts it in the same risk category as smoking and asbestos. That doesn't mean a spoonful of peanut butter will make you sick tomorrow, but it does mean contaminated peanuts can slowly damage your liver over time. And here's the kicker. As you age, your liver loses about 30% of its detox power, so those toxins linger longer than they did in your younger years. But aflatoxin isn't the only issue. Peanuts are also loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. Now we need omega-6s in small amounts, but the balance is key. The ideal ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fats is around 4 to 1. Peanuts push that ratio into the thousands to 1, which fuels systemic inflammation. For seniors already battling arthritis, heart disease, or brain fog, that imbalance can make symptoms worse. On top of that, peanuts contain tough proteins like arachidine and conarachidine that become harder to digest as stomach acid declines with age. That's why many people over 60 suddenly notice bloating, gas, or indigestion after eating peanuts, even if they tolerated them just fine in their younger years. So, should you swear off peanuts forever? Not necessarily. If you absolutely love them, buy from trusted brands, store them in the fridge to reduce mold growth, and eat them in small amounts. But if you want the same protein punch without the risks, switch to almond butter or tahini. They're easier on your liver and less inflammatory overall. And if you've been eating peanuts daily, pay close attention to unexplained fatigue, joint pain, or brain fog. Sometimes the healthy snack you trusted is the hidden culprit. Next, we reach the nut that shocks people the most. It's sold in bright bags, coated in salt or sugar, and often labeled as a fun snack. But for seniors, it can quietly sabotage your blood pressure, your arteries, and even your waistline. Number 1. Ultra-processed nut mixes. The silent saboteur. Here's the truth. The most dangerous nut for seniors often isn't the nut itself. It's the way companies process and package them. Walk down any grocery aisle and you'll see shiny bags labeled Honey Roasted Mix, Sweet and Salty Blend, or Energy Trail Mix. They look healthy, but dig a little deeper and you'll find the real story. Most of these mixes are drenched in added sugars, syrups, seed oils, and sky-high salt. For someone over 60, that combo can be devastating. The sugar spikes blood glucose, the excess sodium raises blood pressure, and the industrial oils fuel inflammation that stiffens arteries and slows down recovery from everyday aches and pains. Instead of protecting your heart, these mixes quietly work against it. And here's the sneaky part. The coatings make you eat more. Salt and sugar trigger cravings. So before you know it, you've eaten double or triple the calories you thought you were having. For seniors watching their weight, joints, or blood pressure, that handful of healthy snack mix can be as harmful as a bag of chips. So how do you protect yourself? Simple, stick to raw or dry roasted nuts with nothing added. If you crave flavor, make your own mix at home. Toss walnuts, almonds, pecans, or pistachios with a pinch of cinnamon, a sprinkle of sea salt, or even a dash of smoked paprika. Roast them lightly in your oven, and you've got a snack that tastes amazing without wrecking your health. Bottom line, the danger isn't always in the nut itself, it's in the packaging. And when you take control of that, you take back your health. Now that we've covered the 4 nuts or nut situations you need to handle with care after 60, it's time to flip the script. Let's talk about the 4 nuts you should be eating daily. The ones that can sharpen your brain, protect your eyes, and keep your heart beating strong for years to come. Daily 4 pecans. The antioxidant powerhouse. Pecans don't always get the spotlight. Almonds and walnuts steal most of the attention, but here's a fact few people know. Pecans contain some of the highest antioxidant levels of any tree nut. That means they're like natural shields, helping your cells fight off oxidative stress, the kind of invisible wear and tear that accelerates aging. One study found that eating pecans actually boosted antioxidant capacity in the blood within just a few hours. For seniors, that's critical, because oxidative stress is linked to heart disease, memory decline, and joint problems. Adding pecans is like giving your body a quick tune-up every day. But antioxidants aren't their only gift. Pecans are rich in monounsaturated fats, the same heart-healthy fats that make olive oil famous. These fats calm inflammation and help keep cholesterol in balance. And here's the kicker. Despite their slightly sweet flavor, pecans have a glycemic index of just 10. Translation, they won't spike your blood sugar, making them a safe choice even if you're managing diabetes or prediabetes. So how should you eat them? Keep it simple. About 1 ounce a day, that's roughly 19 pecan halves. Eat them raw or lightly toasted, preferably in the mid-morning or mid-afternoon when energy dips hit. You can even grind pecans into a meal and use it as a crunchy coating for chicken or fish. Not only does it add flavor, it transforms your dinner into a heart-healthy powerhouse. For seniors looking to protect memory, support the heart, and keep blood sugar steady, pecans are a quiet but powerful ally. Next, we'll move to a nut that brings even more color to the table, and it just might protect your vision as you age. Daily 3 pistachios, green gems for eyes and arteries. Pistachios aren't just fun to crack open, they're a game changer for seniors. Their bright green color isn't just for show. It comes from powerful plant pigments called lutein and zeaxanthin. These antioxidants are the same ones that concentrate in the macula of your eyes, protecting against age-related macular degeneration, the leading cause of vision loss after 60. In other words, every handful of pistachios doubles as natural eye insurance. But the benefits don't stop at your vision. Pistachios have been shown in clinical studies to improve blood vessel function and even reduce stiffness in arteries, a common problem as we age. Seniors who added pistachios to their diet saw improvements in blood pressure and circulation in as little as 4 weeks. That means better heart health, fewer dizzy spells, and more energy for daily activities. Pistachios are also one of the most balanced nuts you can eat. Each ounce delivers about 6 grams of protein, 3 grams of fiber, and the lowest calorie count of any nut, around 159 calories. That makes them ideal for weight management, especially since eating them in their shells naturally slows you down. In fact, studies show people eat up to 40% fewer calories when they have to shell their pistachios compared to eating them pre-shelled. So how do you make the most of them? Aim for 1 to 1.5 ounces per day, about 49 pistachios. Eat them as an afternoon snack, sprinkle them over salads, or stir them into oatmeal. For best results, choose unsalted pistachios to keep sodium in check, and store them in the fridge to protect their delicate oils. With pistachios, you're not just snacking, you're protecting your eyes, strengthening your heart, and keeping your waistline in check. Next, we'll look at a nut that's been proven over and over to cut cholesterol and calm inflammation. If there's one nut seniors should rely on daily, it's this one. Daily 2. Almonds. The heart's daily ally. If there's one nut that consistently delivers results in clinical trials, it's the almond. Time and again, studies have shown that adding almonds to your daily routine can lower LDL cholesterol, that's the bad kind, linked to clogged arteries, while raising HDL, the good cholesterol that protects your heart. For seniors trying to avoid heart attacks or strokes, that makes almonds a daily essential. But cholesterol control is just the beginning. Almonds are packed with magnesium, a mineral that most adults over 60 are deficient in. Low magnesium can show up as leg cramps, poor sleep, irregular heartbeats, or even high blood pressure. Just 1 ounce of almonds provides about 20% of your daily needs, and because the magnesium is naturally paired with other nutrients, it's easier for your body to absorb compared to supplements. Almonds also play a hidden role in gut health. They're rich in prebiotic fibers that feed beneficial bacteria in your intestines. That's important because the gut microbiome naturally loses diversity with age, which can fuel inflammation and weaken immunity. By nourishing the good bugs, almonds indirectly calm inflammation throughout the body. So what's the best way to eat them? The sweet spot is 1 to 1.5 ounces a day, about 23 to 35 almonds. You can eat them raw, dry roasted, or soaked overnight in water for a softer texture and improved digestibility. Try splitting your serving half in the morning to stabilize blood sugar and half in the evening to prevent late-night cravings. And here's a pro tip. If you've been a lifelong peanut butter lover but want to cut down on aflatoxin risk, switch to almond butter. Same creamy texture, but with all the benefits and none of the hidden dangers. With almonds, you're not just snacking, you're protecting your heart, calming your gut, and fueling your body with nutrients most seniors desperately need. But there's still one nut left, and it's the king of them all. Packed with plant-based omega-3s, it's the closest thing nature offers to brain food, and it may just slow down the clock on cognitive decline. Daily 1 walnuts, the brain and heart protector. If there's one nut every senior should keep on hand, it's the walnut. Unlike most other nuts, walnuts are rich in alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a plant-based omega-3 fat. Omega-3s are famous for protecting the heart, calming inflammation, and supporting brain function. And after 60, when both heart disease and memory decline become real concerns, walnuts are like nature's insurance policy. The research is striking. Large studies following older adults for years have found that those who eat walnuts regularly have a lower risk of heart attacks and strokes. Other research shows walnut eaters perform better on cognitive tests, with some brain scans revealing more activity in regions linked to memory and focus. While walnuts aren't a magic bullet against Alzheimer's or dementia, the evidence suggests they can help keep your brain sharper for longer. But that's not all. Walnuts also support better sleep, which is something many seniors struggle with. They naturally contain melatonin, tryptophan, and magnesium, the perfect trio for relaxing the nervous system and improving sleep quality. Eating a small handful in the evening can actually help your body wind down more naturally than relying on pills. So how much do you need? Aim for 1 to 2 ounces a day, about 1/4 to 1/2 cup. That's enough to deliver meaningful omega-3s without overloading calories. For the best quality, buy them raw, keep them in the fridge or freezer, and eat them plain or sprinkled into oatmeal, yogurt, or salads. With walnuts, you're protecting your arteries, feeding your brain, and giving your body the nutrients it struggles to make on its own as you age. It's no wonder researchers often call them the ultimate anti-aging nut. Now that we've covered the 4 nuts to limit and the 4 nuts to embrace, let's bring it all together into a simple daily blueprint you can follow without second-guessing. Daily blueprint and quick recap. By now you've seen both sides of the nut story, the ones to treat with caution and the ones to rely on daily. But how do you actually put this into practice without feeling overwhelmed? The answer is simple. Build your own daily nut bowl. Here's a blueprint you can follow starting tomorrow. Base: a mix of walnuts and almonds. These two cover your heart, brain, and cholesterol in one shot. Boost: add in pecans for antioxidant protection and pistachios for eye and artery support. Flavor: sprinkle with a pinch of cinnamon or sea salt if you like, but skip the sugar coatings and oil-roasted blends. Serving size: stick to about 1–2 ounces total per day. That's roughly a small handful, not a giant bowl. This way, you don't have to think about it. Every time you reach for your daily snack, you'll know you're feeding your body exactly what it needs after 60. Now let's do a lightning recap. Handle with caution: cashews, kidney stones and blood sugar; Brazil nuts, selenium overload; peanuts, aflatoxin and inflammation; and ultra-processed nut mixes, sugar, salt, and seed oils. Eat daily: pecans, antioxidants and blood sugar stability; pistachios, eye and heart health; almonds, cholesterol and magnesium; and walnuts, omega-3s, brain and heart. Keep it simple. Phase down the risky ones. Lean on the protective 4, and your body will thank you for years to come. Next, we'll close this video with one final thought and a call to action that could help you and others in this community live healthier, longer lives. At the end of the day, nuts aren't the enemy, they're powerful tools. The secret is knowing which ones to keep on your plate daily and which ones to treat with caution as your body changes with age. By cutting back on cashews, peanuts, Brazil nuts, and heavily processed mixes, and instead leaning into walnuts, almonds, pistachios, and pecans, you can protect your heart, sharpen your mind, and keep your body stronger for years to come. The beauty is that this isn't a complicated plan. It doesn't require fancy supplements, expensive programs, or strict rules. Just a handful of the right nuts every single day can tip the scales in your favor. Small choices add up, and for seniors, those small choices often mean the difference between slowing down and staying independent. Now it's your turn. Which nut from today's list surprised you the most? And what change are you going to make this week? Share your answer in the comments below. And your story might even help another senior in our community make a life-changing switch. Thank you for watching, and remember, your health is in your hands, sometimes quite literally in the handful of nuts you choose. Choose wisely, and your future self will thank you.